Shalom and good day all, this is Tehillim29 back again for another Indie and Marvel comic review. And as you can see here, the ones that I'll be covering will be King Spawn issue 35 and of course the Vengeance of Moon Knight Blood Hunt tie-in. Personally, I wish Blood Hunt had its own comic run instead of tying in with these other comics. You know, just saying, I think it would work better. As I cover Blood Hunt, the Vengeance of Moon Knight issue 6. I'll now get things prepared for the first one I'll be reviewing. So first things first, does this cover in any way, shape or form connect to something that is happening inside of the story? In some essence it does, but I really do like the appearance of Spawn in this cover, to which I gave the cover a rating of 7.5 out of 10. Now it's time to move into the area of the internal art and also have a look at what's happening story-wise inside with the characters. So as the story begins, we have Al Simmons, Spawn, who's finally met up with Granny Blake, and he recently helped her out because she had been taken captive. Now that she's sort of like under his protection, he's now wanting to take on more of the villains who had tried to take advantage of her and exploit her in a situation. As we start to jump towards the middle of the story, we finally get to see the group of villains that Spawn is up against. We don't really get many of their names, but we do know that there's a character by the name of Blood in there, spelled B-L-U-D-D. We also have Jeremy Stratton, who is also makes an appearance, or is spoken about in the story. And last but not least, towards the end of the story, to which Spawn returns with some injuries. So for the internal art, I give it a 7 out of 10. Next is the area of the story. Considering how far we have gotten in the story, were there any references to any of the previous issues, or maybe a connecting story in another issue of Spawn or the Spawn universe? The answer is no. Next is time, no indication of time. Next is location, no indication of location. Mainly the cast of characters, which we did get, were Granny Blake, Spawn, Jeremy Stratton, and Blood, plus whoever this new group that Spawn is up against. We didn't quite get their name. Though it would have been nice to have seen it being addressed in the story. For the overall story rating, I give it a 6.5 out of 10. Now it's time to move on to Vengeance of Moon Knight. So as we start to move into Vengeance of Moon Knight, yes, we got a little bit of vampire action happening here too. And it's a bit of a distraction in the story, I must admit. But overall, how does the story go? We'll find out. First is the area of the cover. Does this cover in any way, shape or form connect to something that is happening inside of the story? Sure enough it does, to which I give a 7 out of 10. Now it's time to move in relation to the area of the internal art as we have a look around the beginning, middle and of course the end. And also what's happening story-wise with the characters. So as we start to move towards the beginning of the middle of the story, we catch up with the characters of Reese, 8-Ball and Soldier as they are starting to take on some of these vampiric villains. Going a little bit further, we have the Midnight Mission entering what looks to be, this does take place in New York City, and we get to see, well, quite a lot of blood, red all over the place. And last but not least, towards the end, Reese, which we must remember that Reese herself is also a vampire, taking on other vampires. So for the internal art, I give it a 7 out of 10. Now it's time to move in relation to the area of the story. First things first, do we get anything comic reference-wise in relation to anything connected to this series? No, we don't. Next is Area of Time, nothing at all. One thing we were given though was the location, which is really good. We had the Midnight Mission and New York City. Fantastic job. It's nice to see this these things being addressed in story. Now, the cast of characters, we have Reese, 8-Ball, Dr. Sternan, who I think is Hunter's Moon, and they're the main cast of characters. For the overall story rating, I do give a 7 out of 10. Until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.